Hello, it is, at least it is to me, Wednesday, February 16th, 2022, and this is Consistency Over Intensity Workout. Please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. And the consistency is going to be here, not the intensity, like the workout says, consistency over intensity. So it was either do it, when you get that decision time, that decision tree that says either you can be consistent or, be intense, and but you don't need to do both. Sometimes I can turn up the intensity even on this workout a little bit, so that's good. But yeah, today's decision was right now either do nothing or do the bare minimum, and I'm gonna try to go a little bit past the bare minimum in this workout, but basically it's going to be mostly the bare minimum. And even with the bare minimum, I still feel it, but I'm still locking in those workouts, and I think that matters, and that's the whole point of that consistency over intensity thing. Anyway, okay, so yeah, something's better than nothing at all. And two things I'm working on this workout is going to be, obviously what I just said with consistency over intensity, and the other thing is breath. 4 phases of breath: my strength during exhale, my strength during holding empty, my strength during inhale, and my strength during holding full. Now, before this, did a little bit of kind of prep work a couple hours ago where I was just sitting around. There was a single weight, and I did a little bit of upper body stuff. Not much, just but I did it in sets. So I did it like 2 sets of, I think, 3 different exercises. Real simple, but yeah, locking in those breathing too with it, and just a easy thing to do every now and then. Okay. So that being said, this is being done, and just trying to fill my life in with a whole bunch of little things I do every now and then. Walk past the chin-up bar, do a chin-up, and sometimes keep track of it, sometimes don't. Okay, to the workout. Stretching, wrist exercise, warm-up exercise, and then the rest of the exercises. Well, not a wrist exercise, forearm, I guess. Oh. Here we go. Throw some extra arm circles in there because those seem to feel pretty good. Trying to hit the apex of the breath as soon as I bring the leg up to the apex of my stretch. Okay, and it's kind of funny. The stretches I do at work are a different set of stretches than these, but that's okay. Roundabout different protocols, I guess, at different times. Not that I really have a huge rhyme or reason to it. One time I bought a set of these and within 5 minutes, like, it broke, and I didn't even think about it. I was in the parking lot when I tried it. I bought it, went out, it was like some Walmart, $5, and I tried it. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll keep these in the car. Before pulling out of the parking lot, it breaks. So I pull right back in, get the receipt, and walk right up. And it was kind of funny. The clerk that took care of the return for cash, because I didn't want to buy another set, was actually, I did get another set. I think about it, and the clerk, these might have been it. I don't think these were it, but anyway, the clerk was like, just looking at me like, you're stronger than you look, or something like that. But it wasn't. It was probably a faulty set, because the next one I got was actually a different type, but it worked out just fine. And it was weird. It was like metal right here. I think these are metal and then plastic. So, or maybe metal and metal. That would make sense. Metal all the way down, plastic wrapped around it. Could be, hopefully. These have lasted a good while. At least 3 years. Okay, warm up set, and then the real all the rest of the exercises. I consider that forearm workout a real exercise. So, you know, it's all real to me, except for this. This is warm up. It exists in reality, but it's not real exercise. It's warming up for the real exercise. Yeah, with these, I do enough weight where I want to be cautious and careful. So it's like, if I'm going lightweight, yeah, no real warm up. And I mean, the stretches partially warm me up, but like, yeah, it's all preventative maintenance for energy, against injury, but also not wasting my time. I've done the bit where I've done a warm up set on every single exercise and then do 3 sets afterwards. And I don't want to be working out for 2 hours, you know, so this is that convenience. Nice and smooth. Like I said, it's going to be bare minimum, so it's probably going to be 1 cycle of breath on most exercises, except ones that I really feel that 1 cycle is just not going to do anything worthwhile for me. I mean, it probably will, you know, at least as far as consistency is concerned. I kind of think if I'm doing reverse flies with the dumbbells, like if I do a set of 4, like why even show up? And also, almost in a bizarre way, my body almost kind of likes a lot, if I can use the term like, not really enjoyment, not really, it's like recreation, but it somehow likes it more than 1 breath cycle for that. And same thing with push-ups. If I do 4 or 8 push-ups, it's just like, I used to do that sometimes, just to, you know, a set of 10 push-ups will get your blood flowing to your chest, great, and it'll feel like nothing happens, you know. And it's just a little bit of warmth, but for this, it seems like my body wants at least 10, and 1 cycle of breath can be 8, so it'd be like 1 cycle and a quarter of a cycle. And no, I want to do at least 3 cycles, but I don't mind cutting that last cycle in half and getting rid of the holds on it. It's kind of a fun experiment. Okay, on to these. That felt pretty good. Little twinge in the shoulder, just enough to let me know it's there, but it wasn't caused by any particular strain. It was just general strain on it. It's like, hey, don't forget your right shoulder. Be careful with it. I'm like, you know, solid on that. So it's kind of good that I'm doing the bare minimum. These, I think I'll go slightly beyond the bare minimum, especially because the right shoulder is just like, hey, let me know, and I'm letting it know that this is good for it. So that's part of the reason I'm doing these. I think it's good rehab for, I don't really consider it an injury, but I guess it is, because it is something consistent, and it is something my body's telling me there is pain, but because the pain's not at a level where it's like, don't do anything. You know, I'm keeping with it. Hopefully it's a healing pain, where I just do a little bit and everything kind of allows my body to heal itself up if I get enough sleep and hopefully good nutrition. Ate Mexican food tonight. Authentic Mexican food that was great. And with the beans, I think I got an okay amount of protein and hopefully more than an okay amount or an okay amount of fat. But the rice, that's complex carbohydrates, and the veggie enchiladas were great. Vegetables, full things of broccoli in there, carrots, complex carbohydrates on the wraparound on and also good cheese, good fat for the cheese, but still felt the need to drink a protein shake when I got back home. Or actually, I got back to my dad's house. I leave some protein powder there. I used to have 3 big bottles there. Now I'm down to 1, but I got some more around the house I can bring over there, so it's all good. Speaking about things being good, let's go ahead and get good with this. Yeah, that's the correct thing. Time for me to get right with my own existence, and this is part of that process. I've been given a gift of a body. Take care of it. It's only on loan, but it does have a lifetime guarantee. So I'm getting right with it. And I like that. Get right with your own body. Reminds me, I think I heard somebody say something about like, before you do that, you better get right with Jesus. Meaning, AKA, I was probably doing something very foolish, and somebody thought I might not survive the foolish thing. Good news is I'm not doing foolish things anymore. I got nothing to prove, and I look forward to having a ripe old age, a healthy. I want to be healthy at 100 years old. So that's part of this process too. So good news is I got ahead of the curve on any real physical ailments or anything like that. Had I been eating like I used to be 5 or 6 years ago, I might have diabetes now or something. That's not confirmed with the doctor or anything, but who knows? Soda, lots of caffeine, and I was a vegetarian back then too, but like vegetarian for them means cookies and cake and potato chips. Not so much anymore. Yesterday I did eat a small pack of sandwich cookies, not like Oreo sandwich, but like they were Greek yogurt, strawberry Greek yogurt sandwich cookies, and packaged and super tasty. But I took my time with them. 4 little cookies in a little plastic package, and just broke them into smaller pieces too. It makes me enjoy my food. Take my time with my food. Didn't read anything while doing it. Just cleared my mind, closed my eyes, and just shut down my senses. And I was in a place where I was alone, and not making much noises other than like air conditioning going on and various white noise and traffic noise. But it's a nice way to really enjoy something. It's like 1 cookie equals the enjoyment of several cookies, and that was a good thing. And the funny thing is, I remember eating cookies and not even really remembering it. Like, oh, this is tasty, but by the 5th cookie, it wasn't really tasting the cookie anymore. I was kind of tasting it. I was happy, like, oh, it's a cookie, But it's not so much about volume; it's about depth, and the depth of the feeling that you feel towards the things that you're ingesting. Ingesting it with happiness and respect and enjoying it. So yeah, am I going to go out of my way to get those cookies ever again? Nah, probably not. If they're available, I'll pick the right time to eat them. But if they're available, it's not at the right time, I'm not going to eat them. Speaking about that, I did eat a breakfast this morning of vegetarian lasagna, and it was so good. But at the same time, it broke my fast a little too early. I had to stay awake for a little bit after I got off work, and I thought about that vegetarian lasagna, and I was like, man, there's no reason I really can't eat it right now. I mean, yeah, I'll break my fast, but it'll definitely keep me awake, and that stuff was super tasty, and I'm probably unlikely to get access to that vegetarian lasagna anytime soon. So. And I know it would be gone by tonight, so it's one of those situations. And every now and then, maybe once every 2 months, I go on a thing for like a day or two where I eat 2 meals a day that are different times instead of 2 meals a day within that 5-hour window. So I broke it up pretty badly, like way opposite. if I think about it, eating at 8 o'clock and then eating again, I mean, I barely had a 12-hour fast. I had less than a 12-hour fast, so between meals. And I know that the fast doesn't really, count until like the body's done with digestion, but I just do it from the last bit of food that was in my mouth, bit of things was, has calories in it. Oh man, I didn't make myself a drink, but that's okay. I'm just doing the bare minimum pretty much for this. I guess I did 2 cycles of breath on that last one, so I'll do another 2 cycles on this one. And this is the one that needs it, so I gotta give it a lot of good love. I think 2 cycles is proper caring for the shoulder. Felt good, felt proper. Now, on to the rest. Which is not resting, but it's the rest of the workout. Although I don't mind a little rest right now. Truth be told. I'm so happy I get to stay up all night, get knee deep in my new schedule. I'm not very happy that I hope it's not a thing, not a habit that's gonna form where I have to stay at work, after doing an 8-hour shift and 7 a.m. till 9 o'clock for a 9 o'clock meeting and all that kind of stuff. I know that kind of thing's gonna happen at least once a month, but hopefully it doesn't happen every week and all that. Worst case scenarios, it happens, 2 days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, oh shoot, is it Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning? I guess it could happen 3 times a week, but I really hope it's not that. I mean, I could use the overtime, but yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy for it. Today, staying awake to go to the bank at 9:45 was like, but thinking as I had that lasagna. And the worst part about it is, hey, can we do a quick stop at some place to buy soda? Yeah, we can do it. I'm gonna sit in the car for 5 minutes, and part of me is like 10 minutes rolls by. I'm like, I should just leave. I'm like, no. And then 20 minutes goes by, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go in there. I find them leaving, and then I'm like, dude, what happened? I still really don't know what took 20 minutes to buy soda and cigarettes, but whatever. I'm not mad about it, I'm just curious. Nothing really to be mad about. Just I should keep an eye on that thing, and now I know, hey, it's my fault for not going in with, thinking I'd just rest my eyes for 5 minutes and be done. But yeah, I really wanted to get home, get to that wonderful land of sleep. Whew. Thinking about it now a little bit, but I'd much rather, my desire for sleep is like at 3, and my desire to play a video game or read a book or draw something or play some music with headphones, of course, and do this. While doing this, it's at a 4, but or maybe a 2. I don't know. I'm not really super jacked up about doing this. I'm not jacked up about the next exercise for whatever reason. Maybe it's the goal of not having a breath in between the transitions, man. That gets a weird feeling for me, and it doesn't seem like much at all, but not having that breath in between transitions makes it, for me at least, more difficult, and it shouldn't be very difficult at all. So it's like, this is curious. Anyhow, yeah, my desire for playing video games at like a 6 or a 7, so that's a high level. I almost want to shut this down and sit in the comfy chair and play a video game, or like I said, read a book, or maybe play a video game and read an audiobook at the same time. I don't want to do that necessarily tonight, because the game I want to play, you have to listen to on headphones and really hear what's going on. Plus, there's story elements of it, and it's not just grinding. And even when you are grinding, you have stuff behind you and all that kind of stuff. There's little indicators on the screen of where stuff is, but it's just easier with the headphones. Like, oh, you hear it kind of behind you a little bit, which is awesome technology. Why not use the dumbbell to scratch the shoulder, you know? All right, so 6 exercises. I'm gonna explain it to myself right here, psych myself up about it instead of be hesitant to it. It's gonna be 1 cycle of breath, which is 4 repetitions, which is 1 repetition for each phase of breath. The 6 exercises are gonna be basically air squats, but they're not really air squats because got a little bit of weight to it, but for all practical purposes, air squats. So 4 of those, starting exhale, hold for the 2nd rep. 3rd repetition, I inhale. 4th repetition, I hold full. And then the next exercise is like the Arnold press, which is not the Arnold, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically a shoulder press, but it's like this rotating thing that's kind of weird. Feels kind of interesting. So I do it with nice and lightweight and, you know, not really trying to get all Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything like that. So, but I think it's an exercise I saw him recommend on a video a long, long time ago. It's like, you could do a shoulder press, but you could do this too. And it's like, this makes your muscles happy. Like, okay. So it does actually make my muscles happy. So, but I do certainly feel it, especially if there's no transition breath in between the exercises. Next one, without a transition breath, really easy transition, is something that I think about it as like some sort of muscle in the shoulders, but near the collarbone. And it's just a raise directly up from the ground, trying to keep both the dumbbells together. And when I'm near the top of it, you know, in this position, trying to put it away from my face so I don't get my beard all caught up in it, and definitely try to keep the dumbbells together, because if it's too near the face and I bring the dumbbells apart and I bring them back together near the face, I am gonna lose some beard hair on that one. It's happened before. Let's see here. Next one after that, the 4th exercise, I believe, is Romanian deadlifts. And I'm very careful about my lower back. So nice lightweight, it's a perfect time to do it. Even with lightweight, I could hurt my back if I don't remember the key element. And the key element, I guess there's 2 key elements. A friend of mine told me, you know, set your core. So I try to set my core a little bit on that one, not too much, because I'm still trying to breathe and, you know, push out my belly for breath a little bit, but set my core for a half second first. And most important to me is bring my hips, my butt, everything that's here backwards a little bit. So bring it backwards and not bend straight, but bend backwards. So that's an important element to that, because if I bend straight on that one, even with no weight, I do that enough, and my lower back will not be happy I did that. Then there is lateral raises, you know, birdie flapping wings. And that one I don't just do up to my eyeballs, I do all the way to the top, and I bend the elbows a little bit. It's nice lightweight. So then last one, the 6th exercise, is frontal raise. And yeah, I mean, I should do it arms straight and no, you know, wiggling back and forth, but by the time I get it, I'm gonna wiggle back and forth a little bit, and it's gonna give me momentum, even with lightweight. So it's weird. It's just like every time I try to stay super still, and just like now, because it's you know, I'm cool and not cool, but like my body's not like, you know, huffing and puffing. It's really easy to do that, just like arms straight and not moving. Ooh, felt a twinge in my right shoulder there. So, but when I'm after those 5 other exercises, bend the elbows a little bit, I sway a little bit, but it feels about right. And I think it's not so much muscular benefit. I'm sacrificing a little bit of muscular development to the god of cardiovascular development, I guess. I hope that's how it works. I certainly feel it. And now that I've said enough, it's really time to feel it. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think it was because I had at least 3 minutes of talking before going through that litany. So, yeah, the talking helps. So going from the incline bench to the shoulder thing to that without too many transition breaths definitely affects me more than it affects me now, but I'm still feeling it. And part of the reason I know I'm feeling it is there were no transition breaths in between the exercise. As soon as I hold full on the 4th repetition, by the time I'm exhaling on the 1st repetition of the next exercise. So that feels pretty good. Definitely some sort of cardiovascular benefit. I'm not quite out of breath, but at the same time, my lungs and my heart and my body knows I did something. So that's good. Try not to be too loud, but that was kind of loud. That felt pretty good. And also, those were kind of the exercises I did tonight. I just had a single weight and went for it. It was kind of cool. I was doing tonight earlier, I was doing what I do almost with the push-ups with, I'll do 2 repetitions per phase of breath. So my exhale, I'm doing, 1, 2. On this, I'm doing a little slower. I'm doing 1 phase of breath per 1 repetition, which feels good with these. What I was doing earlier tonight was lighter weight, and I wanted to get at least to like 24 reps, which would be 3 cycles of breath. And I was able to, kind of get 2 sets out of each and kind of rotate it around a little bit. So it felt pretty good. Also feels good to opposite arm to opposite leg. So left arm, right leg goes up. I've tried the same side and it just doesn't feel as rich. And I really need this to go back a little bit further. When I go back a little bit further with a pause, it just doubles or triples the intensity of the exercise. And more so than like killing momentum, although killing momentum is a good thing too. So we'll get with this. So trying to extend that pause a little bit. And sometimes gravity just defeats the pause, so the pause is there. I'm still trying to pause, but gravity's pulling it down. So on the video, it probably doesn't look like much of a pause, but there is strain there, even if I'm doing bare minimum. Cool. Like I said, 1 cycle, 4 repetitions, 4 parts of breath, 4 phases of breath equals 1 cycle of breath for how I'm doing this. And the cool thing is you can make like 8 phases of breath if you wanted to. Way to do that would be your inhale is in half. So it's like, one of the breath exercises I kind of like doing is a 3 cycle breath, but it's only 2 things. It's inhale, inhale, exhale. And you can reverse that, you can have 2 exhales and 1 inhale. So they all do different things. Or if you want to get really crazy, let's do 16 phases of breath. So it'll be inhale broken into 4 parts, hold empty. Can't really break that into parts. So we'll call it 10 phases of breath because the hold empty and the hold full, there's not really so much you can do there unless you're doing a physical activity and then like you're doing 4 of the physical activity while you're holding empty or holding full. And then I guess you could break it into like 16 that way. And there's probably other creative ways you can do it, but I'm going to try 10 phases of breath right now. So it's going to be And maybe it's just semantics or psychosomatic or something, but I do feel weird about that. Like breaking it into parts like that. And it does feel a little bit different. You know, just breaking it into steps that are, there's a stop, but there's not really a long pause. So it's kind of interesting. And it's like, it's almost like you're forcing the action to stop. It's like a red light, you know, just a red light turning into green. Go to the complete stop sign. Go to the complete stop, then go, you know. The stop sign when nobody's around, but you're still feeling like obeying the law. So stop 100% and then go. And as soon as it hits 100% stop, you know, your foot's on the gas and you're going again. I wonder if they'll still call it the gas when most people, over 50% of people, are driving electric cars. They'll probably start calling it the accelerator. You know, it'll just be like, push your foot on the accelerator. And it won't be called the gas anymore. But still roll your window down, and most people have electric windows, so 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Then of course there's the baker's dozen, which I love the concept of. Love the concept of the baker's dozen, because you got to get the full dozen to get the baker's dozen. Half dozen doesn't get the baker bonus. That's such good marketing. I'm a baker and I have the baker's dozen. You know, if you're getting it from a baker, it's going to be better. Like, that's just cool. You know, of course we're dealing in donuts, and 12 is probably better than 13 from a certain perspective. And I definitely don't like this perspective of like, you're going to be eating 12 anyway. You might as well go all the way and get 13. You know, I don't know about that friend. That friend is not necessarily your friend. Or maybe they are, but they have a different set of standards for you. And it's nice to have people around you that have a lower set of standards for you than you have for yourself. It's better than the opposite, but at the same time, it still has its pitfalls. I guess when I'm saying it's best to be a loner, no, I'm not saying that at all. No, it has its own benefits and detriments. I guess all of them do, so do the best with what you got. And I love that philosophy in so many things. Just do the best with what you got. Okay, let's do at least 2 cycles of this. I'm gonna shoot for 3. And by 3, I really start kind of feeling it in a good way. So here we go. I think that was like 4 or 5 cycles. That's good. What I know now is when I sit here and talk to you, or just talk, if this wasn't on, I wouldn't be talking. I have to have some reason to talk, I guess. The other day I was talking to a plant because I didn't want to talk to myself, and it's a good plant, so the plant was saved. So, and the plant has a name, so I didn't name the plant. But in this case, that little bit of talking was a nice rest period, and it just shows those rest period really, really does gas up my body, cools down my body, and you know, I keep hitting it when it's hot. There's probably huge benefits to that too, but they're probably not muscular benefits. They're probably like some sort of cardiovascular benefit, which, hey, I need that too. I mean, all these things are, you know, hopefully part of the equation to a long and healthy life. So someone was talking to me about drinking on the job and different things. I'm just like, I don't even drink when I'm off. I just don't drink. Alcohol, that is. Don't drink alcohol. Drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water plus electrolytes. And I do the fake Diet Sprite stuff quite a bit, just for bubbles. The fake Diet Sprite doesn't have the same taste as Diet Sprite, but it's half as much. And I don't really care for too much artificial sweetener anyway, so, you know, by buying fake Diet Sprite, I'm just basically getting bubbly water that's mildly tastes like Sprite to a far lesser degree. But, fake Diet Sprite is, 85 cents for 2 liter, and Diet Sprite, and it's just, depends on where you go, but the least expensive I've seen it is like $1.25, so it's like, for a 2 liter. Got a friend that buys cans now. Freaking cans. The other day, I don't know where he bought it from. It was 2 12-packs of Diet Pepsi, and it was like, the receipt said like $12 for that or something. It's just like, that's ridiculous. It's just, get yourself a 2 liter, keep it in the refrigerator, use a cup, Save yourself some money. But some people like stuff in the can. I used to be like that with certain things, but then again, I had a couple places where I could go for really cheap. I think it was under $2 for a 12-pack or whatever. So that was pretty good. I remember I averaged it out, and it was like 20 cents a can or something like that. So 12 times, 240, something like that. So it wasn't bad at all. But it's all relative to what you have and what you can get rid of and where you can put it and all that. All right, we're almost done with this stage. Felt pretty good. A lot of talking. I didn't think I'd be talking so much tonight. I thought it'd be a silent one. But no. Tonight is the real deal on it. A lot of talking. I guess I needed that. A buddy of mine said he was going to go to the gym, work out with a friend. And I almost said I miss those days, but at the same time, I don't want to invite myself to something like that. Don't really, number one, I didn't have the time for it. I had other things planned. And number two, I just like this. There's something magical about this. And especially something magical, not waiting for, the session, not having to wipe down every time I use something, Don't have to work out in a mask. So, yeah, the non-gym, the home gym. For a little while, I was listening to a podcast that was all about garage gyms and stuff. But then after like 3 of them, I was like, I lost interest in it. And I was just like, I'd rather just do it and not hear about it. And maybe it was just reestablishing my my goal back then was to get rid of my gym membership or figure out a way around it or whatever. And, mission accomplished, but not in the way I wanted. Still wanted to figure out a way to play racquetball and stuff, but not doing too much of that these days. And that's okay. But would like to fill that time up with something else. Whew. That all being said, let's go ahead and do that first, and then we'll do the rollers. Switch up the order a little bit. Usually the first thing I do when I'm down here is the roller, but I'll do a plank with 1 cycle of breath, and then I'll do 3 cycles of breath for the push-ups. The third cycle is just going to be 2 repetitions on the exhale and skipping any of the holds. It'll be the inhale next and 2 more repetitions. So we'll keep the 2 repetitions per phase, but we're going to get rid of 2 phases on that last breath cycle for the push-ups. So cool thing is, if I do it right, it equals out 20. And the cool thing is, I don't necessarily count up to 20. I count basically up to 8 or sometimes 4 when I'm just counting the breath phases. But I know for each phase, I'm trying to do 2 push-ups. And it seems like it flows pretty well. It flows better than doing 1 rep per phase. Okay, so a little bit of plank, 1 cycle of plank. Seems like my exhales were pushing a lot faster Like, it was more difficult to get 2 complete push-ups done in the time that I was exhaling. And the inhale was great. The inhale, 2 push-ups equaled out the inhale real well. So that was kind of strange, but kind of cool. And I guess I like doing that first and then doing the roller, because with my arms a little bit tired, maybe subconsciously, I'm throwing more attention to my stomach. Maybe it's doing a little bit more, hopefully. I'm gonna pretend that it is anyway. I'm gonna make this a little bit subjective. Possibly using my mind to influence my body. It was a weird cycle of breath, but it felt pretty good. I think I did 2 cycles there, but they felt good. So push-ups first. I'm kind of liking that idea. So note that to myself. Hopefully it has been noted and recorded. Whew. Man, I'm thinking I spent 30 minutes on this so far. We shall see. Let's see how my time is on this. Ooh, time flies when you're having fun. The funnest part about this has been your wonderful companionship. It's kind of funny. One of those lamps looks like a spotlight just shooting out to my driveway from inside here. It wasn't really as intended, but it kind of looks kind of cool from the outside. But it's a little too obvious that, like, hey, somebody's working out in here. But I'm not worried about that. Not really too worried about too many things these days. That feels pretty good about it. Well, I did get a slight worry tonight where there's a couple tasks I really should attend to. Things are not getting worse or out of control, but preventative maintenance on a few things. Gotta get to those, get my ladder out, get the paint out, and all that kind of stuff. The paint's already sitting where it needs to sit pretty much, so it's just a question of me unfolding up the ladder and moving a couple things out of the way, finding my protective eyeball protectors. I don't want any paint dripping down into my eyes. Hasn't happened before, but I realized the risk I was taking at certain times. So good stuff all the way around. Remembering these things and doing them. Okay, but I'm pretty sure it'll wait for a good long while, but why let it wait, you know? All right. Okay, so let's do this. I only made that ring loud once out of 4 times, which is a good thing. I tried not to make it a big clang, you know. All right, that time I think I increased the quality of those. Went a little further back, maybe a little slower. Didn't clang, you know, when it got to that extension of the repetition. So that's pretty good. Try to do these with, maybe I'll do less of them, but I'm gonna try to do them with a little bit more control, less bounciness in them. Still gonna be some bounciness, but it's just the nature of the beast. Like those two bonus ones at the end. So that last hold lasts for 4 repetitions, just so I can get a nice round number in my head on it. Wow. Just realized I just looked up and I saw 3 bed frames, and I already had another bed frame that I put out. I am loaded for bear on bed frames. So if I get a complaint back, like, this bed frame doesn't fit, or it's not right, or whatever, I can bring my buddy out here and be like, look up, motherfucker. We got 3 to choose from. If the first one didn't work, there's 3 more. I did not think my house had 3 bed frames in it. Whew. It makes sense, though. People have been stopping by and leaving bed frames. And I put them in a really good, out of the way, but easily accessible. Well, I have to get the ladder, but easily visible spot, I guess. Cool. And if none of those bed frames work, but I'm sure at least one of those will work, I'm reasonably sure that the one I have already set up for them is going to work. It just needs maybe some bolts and some nuts, and it'll be just fine. All right. That felt exactly like it should. That felt exactly like it should. Try to not bend my elbows so much. The less I bend my elbows, the more it hits me. I feel it in that part of my back. It's almost like trying to do a chin-up just by like getting to this point and then using all back, which is kind of fun. And as soon as I make that transition in chin-ups, I can do a lot more chin-ups, probably. That's what I'm thinking. And they'll be more beneficial to my back. All right. nice and a little bit cooler. It won't be like this for long, so I better enjoy it. Really take it in. I'm gonna put my feet here. Smooth transition. So the hardest transition in these exercises is going from this to this. Going from this flies to the chest machine. It seems simpler, and gravity is there for the assist. So it's a smoother transition. And between breaths, that's in essence what I want, is smooth transitions. So I'm gonna do basically what I did yesterday. It's not gonna be the lowest bar. The lowest hurdle that I wanna get through is, 1 cycle of breath, which means 4 repetitions of each of these exercises, these 3 exercises that I'm basically finishing off this workout with. But what I'm gonna do, just like with yesterday, 2 cycles here, 3 cycles here, 2 cycles here. Feels like it's not too much. It'll give my body a nice balance. And I'm going off this 1% idea. If I work out every day and I don't really have that in-between recovery time, I can only do so much damage before digging a hole, And I've been there before, trying to work out every day and just not giving myself enough recovery time and going too intense, and I wasn't gaining strength. I could still do it. I had some weird endurance about it, but I wasn't really up in the weight. I didn't really see progress. And not that I'm seeing huge progress from this, but I'm kind of feeling better. And I do feel like sometimes I challenge myself and it's like, wow, I wasn't able to lift that before, and now it's a lot easier. That's cool. But it's not all about the numbers, and I'm not getting crazy about the numbers because I don't want to get that fixation, because that fixation leads to turning up the intensity. Turning up the intensity leads to me getting just disheartened about it, and like frustration, and frustration equals me just not doing this. A couple of things that make me do this is or future me or whatever, accountability. Not accountability on everything I do. I'm not going to videotape everything I do, but at least on this is the foundation, consistency over intensity. And then the other thing that keeps me going is the way this workout is. It's low hurdles, but it's not pushing my edges. I don't need to find my edges every day. Once a month, once a week, that's fine. Do something that finds my edges. It's good to find your edges. Good to do enough till you feel like you can puke, and see if you can go a little bit further than that every now and then. And that might be pushing the edge too far. But I want to get comfortable with that too. And, that's sort of the process of being comfortable within discomfort. The other day, I had a very particular type of pain, and I still had to do a whole bunch of things. And I just went through the pain, and the pain went away. I knew it would. It wasn't anything I needed to be alarmed about, but it was kind of cool that I said to myself, I know this is not going to last. I'm going to push through it. I had that actually happen again a couple days earlier with a headache. I knew the cause of the headache. Matter of fact, I was working out part of the time I had the headache, and the headache I think pretty much went away during the workout. But the headache, I knew why. A couple days before that, I drank something with some caffeine in it, and there was enough caffeine to set off that thing where my body wants more caffeine in 72 hours, or it'll hold me hostage with a headache. Okay, whatever. Do your headache thing. Cool. I know I can get through it. So I did. I didn't take any caffeine, didn't take any headache medicine. I guess I probably should just take headache medicine, but I don't want to get crazy. I don't want that to be my go-to. I kind of like the idea of, I was just like, this is a perfect time. None of the stuff I can do is going to be dangerous. But I have to do some stuff, and I don't have to be in a good mood to do it. I don't have to say anything nice to anybody or any of that kind of stuff. So I can feel bad and just feel bad, get through it. And that's exactly what I did. And I felt so much better afterwards, So good stuff. Long talk. So I probably should get into this. The longer I talk, the more rested I am for this, and maybe the less impact it is, even though the easier it is. But this should be nice and easy, nice and smooth anyway. I'll try to do it real tight on the breath to make up for this extra long resting talking session. was an experiment in counting. I hope it's accurate. I remember reading something about Richard Feynman and how, I think as a teenager, he did an experiment on how people count. Some people count verbally, 1, 2, 3, 4, in their head. And some people count visually, seeing the numbers in their head. Some of them see it like a clock that changes. Some people see billboards with numbers on it. And based upon interference that he was creating, he could tell how they were thinking in their head. So if someone was counting and he verbally threw out random numbers, he would catch them screw up their count at a certain number, or certain numbers, But if he threw out those verbal numbers, said numbers while they're counting, he could wouldn't be able to screw up their numbers if they were thinking visually and counting visually in their head. So something like that. I don't remember all the details of, but that was really cool. So what I was trying to do there, and something I've been kind of going back to, is, let's say I'm counting verbally out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4, as the breath. And then on the next exhale, I'm back to 1. But I see a big billboard that says the number 1. And then on the next cycle of breath, the big billboard says number 2. And trying to separate those thoughts like that. Haven't quite got it yet. A little bit, sometimes it works, but then I'm counting verbally, and it's like I see a small number underneath it that's going 1, 2, 3, 4, or lights with the numbers lit up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say you got 2 here, and the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, and then switches to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then switches to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like visual like that, but I'm still counting out loud. And then sometimes what people have done in the gym, that will be like, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. It also works with drumming too. And that first one becomes the count number, the measure number. So, or in this case, the breath cycle number. So that's kind of fun. And that's, once you get used to it and you know the rhythm of it, then it's easy to keep straight. But what I kind of have been doing is I've been counting verbally and not visually, and just feeling the concept of 2 and feeling the concept of 3. Like with today, I was reasonably sure, I'm 95% sure I did 5 cycles with the reverse flies. But that was, in essence, just feeling like this feels like 2, this feels like 3. Maybe it's a drummer thing, I don't know. But it's like you feel like your 8th measure. It's just feeling like a time. And sometimes you're getting cues from the guitar because the guitar is going through the process of, it might be playing the same riff 4 times and you're playing your little bit 8 times, And it's just like, okay, I know this is the 8th measure here. It's time to do a little transition. So, but yeah, and so I guess that feel thing maybe is more kinesthetic than anything else. So visually playing with numbers in one's own mind, auditorily playing with numbers in one's own mind, and almost kinesthetically playing with numbers in one's own mind. So with 95% confidence, I was feeling that I was on that 5th cycle of breath, which equals out, if it's 4 breaths per cycle, and I was on the 5th cycle, I should have done 20 repetitions there. Maybe I will go back and take a look at that and just count the repetitions. If I get 20, I know I'm spot on with my kinesthetic counting feel. And it really wasn't shooting for the number 20. I remember just shooting for 3 of them. And it was just like, I'm still feeling like my body wants more of this. It wants to feel a little bit of warmth in that back. And I really want to concentrate on the muscles in the back. Like right now, I feel like just by doing that movement, I can kind of turn them on a little bit more. And that's a cool feeling. Same thing with the chin up, instead of just really bending the arms and concentrate on not bending the arms. And then once I concentrate on not bending the arms, it feels like I'm kind of activating my back a little bit more and then making that move, And that specific exercise where I stand up and pull down, I think it's been part of the process towards that. So I want to be able to activate my body in a whole bunch of fun ways and have different solutions to movement challenges, I could pick up, the glass this way, pick it up that way, pick it up that way, all sorts of movement challenges depending upon the position. And that felt weird with no, I guess. Oh, there it is. That's a stretch. That's interesting. Opens it up. Oh, let's try that on the other side. A little less, but I know the shoulder's doing something funky there. Yeah, well, oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah, because I think about the way you, the lower the wrist, 90-degree angle, breaking the shoulder. Oh man. Or most likely, most folks will just turn with it, and then you end up facing that person's back, which is exactly where you want. Go for the knee, drop them down, head over the palm, not palm fist, but heel to the certain spot of the head as you're bringing your hand down in it and turning the neck and snapping it right in there. What is that? Like, which vertebrae is that? But it's just get that turnaround. It doesn't work as necessarily because you're kicking out the back of the knee a little bit, you're dropping them down a little bit, and at that certain height, your whole body weight and everything with you is kind of going into it. You're just driving your whole self down into it, and then but the knee is the trickiest part in all that. Once you get that turn, the body doesn't want to break its own shoulder. It'll just naturally turn away to keep you from breaking their shoulder. Unless they're an idiot or drunk, then you probably end up breaking their shoulder. Or if they don't feel pain, then you end up with just a ragdoll. Because you'll be breaking those parts. But yeah, I like when that knee is twisting for the body, and usually the feet stay planted because the person has to move so quick. I won't say usually because I haven't done it enough. I don't know, but it's kind of expectation that you do it fast, you'll get planted feet. Because usually you're doing it if somebody's being aggressive towards you and they're bringing force this way. And most people are not good at going forward and going back real quick. Maybe basketball players are. That's an interesting thought. But yeah. And then boop, boop. Some people say hits like that are just like making your own hand into a blackjack, but you're also not hitting the actual skull. I mean, you are a little bit with the finger, but it's not, it's, you know, how hard can you hit with your fingers? That does kind of hurt. But yeah, that's the heel part of it. It's like that 1-2. Maybe there's something neurological about that or magical, I don't know. But from what I understand and from what I've heard, is it's an interesting way to knock someone the blessings out. As opposed to watching, you know, some sort of, you know, fighting movie where they just pop, you know, hit them in the head once and definite knockout. Absolutely no. This maybe slightly more dependable, but it does have 3 components to it: an almost joint lock, a path towards a joint lock, a progression to get there, which is kind of difficult in itself, which is really good about turning whatever they have, you know, fist or whatever, turn it into them grabbing towards you. From a grab, it's so much easier. You just think, okay, the grab's here, let's get that done. And also the fact that, you know, well, what else is going on with the other arm? Gotta find that window. Or the legs or whatever. Not so much worried about the legs on most folks. Wow, thinking about this stuff. Maybe I shouldn't. I almost want to do those 3 extra stomach exercises, but nope. I'm feeling refreshed and good enough. Maybe I'll do them a little bit later, just on my own. No need to videotape it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The one that starts out the business is pretty cool. It's using the feet going, you know, almost from a plank position, but using your tippy toes a little, not exactly your tippy toes, but your feet on the ground and just walking backwards, just using your ankles only, not using your knees or anything. That's kind of weird because you can only take tiny steps. So I take very few tiny steps that way. I guess a real pro at it, or somebody that's far more fit than I am, can take a whole bunch of them and really just get a good stretch out and because the stomach is, man, it is engaged the whole time. All right. It's been fun. Later it shall be.